small, sleek, revolutionary. These are the three words that capture the Cirrus Vision Jet, the world's smallest passenger jet. When you see it for the first time, you might wonder how something so small can even be called a jet. But beneath its nimble frame lies a story of ingenious precision. The Vision Jet wasn't built to cross oceans with hundreds of people on board. Its mission might have been smaller, but it was no less ambitious. The vision was to give private pilots and small business travelers access to jet performance at a more affordable cost. That goal made the wing design absolutely critical. When engineers began shaping the aircraft, they faced a dilemma. Simply shrinking down the wings of a larger jet wouldn't work. Aerodynamics don't scale neatly. A smaller plane faces unique challenges like keeping enough lift at low speeds, maintaining stability for less experienced pilots, and balancing fuel efficiency with range at the same time. Cirrus spent years experimenting with prototypes, testing them in wind tunnels and digital simulations. They drilled it down to two choices: shorter wings that would make the jet agile but fuel-hungry, or longer wings that offered range but risked making the aircraft sluggish. The Vision Jet's wingspan measures 38 feet 7 inches, supporting a fuselage just over 30 feet long. At first glance, the proportions seem almost playful, but every inch is deliberate. The wings use a straight and slightly tapered design with winglets at the tips. This reduces drag and increases stability. With a relatively high aspect ratio, the Vision Jet has strong glide performance. In fact, it can glide nearly 10 miles forward for every mile it descends, which is an important safety margin. The Vision Jet uses a low wing configuration, which is unusual for a jet with an engine mounted on top. This improves ground clearance for the engine, stabilizes handling with a natural dihedral angle, and gives passengers wide-open views from the cabin. Look closer at the cross-section of the wing, the airfoil. The Vision Jet's designers created a special laminar flow airfoil, where air slides smoothly across most of the surface before turning turbulent. That smooth flow cuts down drag and boosts efficiency, helping the jet cruise at about 345 knots. While burning far less fuel than competitors, maintaining laminar flow requires extraordinary precision. Even small surface flaws can disrupt the airflow. That's why Cirrus engineered strict manufacturing tolerances to keep the wing skin smooth. The payoff is efficiency that allows the Vision Jet to climb to 28,000 feet, while sipping fuel at rates closer to turboprops than to larger jets. Before we move ahead, here's a question for you. How far ahead can the Vision Jet glide if its engine shuts down at altitude? Drop your guesses in the comments below and we'll reveal the number at the end. At the wingtips, you'll notice small vertical fins that are the winglets. They may seem like a styling flourish, but they're crucial to the design of the jet. Air always tries to escape from the high-pressure underside of the wing to the low-pressure top. This leakage creates swirling vortices, wasting energy as drag. The Vision Jet's winglets weaken those vortices, boosting climb performance and saving fuel. For a jet designed around accessibility and cost efficiency, this small addition makes a big difference. A wing must perform not only at cruise, but also at every other stage of flight. On takeoff, the Vision Jet's wings deliver high lift at relatively low speeds, allowing safe departures from shorter runways. During climb, the winglets reduce drag just when the single Williams FJ33 engine is working hardest. At cruise, the laminar flow airfoil takes over, which contributes to keeping the aircraft smooth and efficient across long legs. And during approach, the cuffed leading edge of the wing ensures stalls start at the root and preserve aileron control right up until touchdown. The stall speed sits at around 67 knots, which is remarkably low for a jet. That number is no accident. It's the result of years of shaping and reshaping the wing to keep the Vision Jet safe for pilots who are transitioning from slower piston aircraft. Building wings for strength without adding to the weight is always a balancing act. Cirrus turned to a hybrid construction that was focused primarily on advanced aluminum alloys with composite reinforcements in critical sections. Inside, a network of spars and ribs distribute aerodynamic loads evenly. The structure can withstand the stress of turbulence and high-speed maneuvers, but remains light enough to keep the jet efficient. The wings are designed with built-in flexibility. They bend slightly in flight, absorbing turbulence and reducing stress on the joints. Passengers don't notice this subtle flex, but it's part of why the Vision Jet maintains structural integrity across thousands of hours in the air. Much of the Vision Jet's fuel is stored inside the wings, with tanks holding about 296 gallons. That fuel load provides a range of roughly 1,200 nautical miles. For many owners, that's more than enough for regional travel. Passengers can fly from Chicago to Dallas or Paris to Rome without the need to refuel. The laminar flow wings make these trips cost-efficient. If you find the Cirrus Vision fascinating, let us know in the comments where you'd take off if you had one of your own. We love hearing from you. And make sure you subscribe to the channel to hear more deep dives like this. Most Vision Jet owners trained on Cirrus Piston aircraft, particularly the SR-22. The transition feels familiar in part because of the wings. The SR-22 uses a different airfoil optimized for lower speeds and piston performance, but the Vision Jet's wing builds on the same design philosophy. It has a higher aspect ratio, more attention to the laminar flow, and greater wing loading. The result is an aircraft that feels like a natural step up. Pilots moving from the SR-22 aren't intimidated, they're reassured. For passengers, wings shape more than aerodynamics. They influence the view and even the feeling of space. The Vision Jet's low wing layout clears the windows, offering sweeping views of the horizon. From the cabin, you don't feel boxed in by heavy wings, but immersed in the open sky instead. And the natural stability of the dihedral angle translates to smoother rides, especially in light turbulence. Safety has always been Cirrus's hallmark. The Vision Jet carries the Cirrus airframe parachute system, which is the first jet ever equipped with a whole aircraft parachute. But its wings are safety tools as well. The cuffed leading edge prevents sudden, dangerous stalls. The forgiving stall speed gives pilots extra margin for error, and the winglets make the jet easier to control in demanding conditions. For business travelers or families flying themselves, these features are lifelines. Set the Vision Jet beside a Gulfstream or a Citation, and the differences stand out. Larger business jets chase transcontinental range and higher Mach speeds. Their wings are swept, optimized for high-altitude cruising. The Vision Jet's wings look almost modest in comparison. They're straighter, shorter, and optimized for slower speeds, but in those wings lies the genius of the design. They make private jet ownership realistic for pilots who might never step into a Gulfstream cockpit. The Vision Jet doesn't compete with big jets. It redefines what a jet can be. The laminar flow wings demanded flawless production. Even small irregularities can ruin efficiency. Cirrus invested in advanced tooling and manufacturing techniques borrowed from larger aerospace programs. Every wing skin is inspected for smoothness, every rib aligned with millimeter precision. This level of detail ensures the Vision Jet keeps its promised efficiency even after years of service. The Vision Jet isn't just the world's smallest passenger jet, it's a blueprint for where aviation is heading. Electric and hybrid aircraft are emerging rapidly, many borrowing from the Vision Jet's wing concepts. Longer spans for efficiency, winglets for drag reduction, and airfoils tuned for multiple flight phases. These ideas are being scaled into air taxis and next-generation personal jets. The Vision Jet shows that advanced aerodynamics shouldn't be reserved for billion-dollar projects. They can be part of everyday aviation and make flights efficient and accessible to more people than ever before. The Cirrus Vision Jet may be the smallest passenger jet in the world, but its wings carry big ambitions. By balancing performance and efficiency, they redefine what a jet can mean for personal travel. And about that question from earlier, the Vision Jet can glide almost 10 miles forward for every mile of descent. Numbers like these prove just how much thought went into designing the smallest passenger jet in the world. If you enjoyed this look at the hidden genius of aviation design, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what surprised you most about the Vision Jet's wings. The Cold War sky was unforgiving. Nuclear bombers could strike without warning. Seconds meant the difference between survival and destruction. How could America and its allies survive? The answer came in the form of second-generation jets that could break the sound barrier and fire missiles before the enemy ever saw them. But how did they reach such speeds, and what price did pilots pay? The story of second-generation fighters begins with fear. The Soviet Union had just tested long-range bombers and nuclear weapons. The United States and its allies knew they were within reach of devastating attacks. A fighter jet that could only match speeds with a bomber was no longer enough. Interceptors had to cross the speed of sound and fire weapons before the bombers ever came close. Aircraft like the Soviet Tu-95 Bear could fly vast distances with nuclear payloads, giving the USSR the ability to reach American cities. NATO allies faced similar threats, with Eastern Europe and Western Europe staring each other down across the Iron Curtain. New interceptors had to be built not just for wars of the present, but also for the possibility of nuclear attacks in the future. A new design philosophy was born from this urgency. Unlike the first-generation jets that relied on guns and short bursts of speed, these fighters introduced afterburners. These were engines capable of injecting raw fuel into the exhaust stream and creating fiery bursts of thrust that could rocket planes past Mach 1. It was a revolution in terms of propulsion, but it came at a cost. Fuel vanished in minutes and engines were pushed to their limits. What set these jets apart? Supersonic flight was the headline, but that was just the beginning. Their wings were no longer straight and stiff. They were swept back or shaped like deltas, built to cut through the sky at lightning pace. Guns were tossed aside and replaced by guided missiles that could lock on from miles away and strike before the enemy even saw them. And behind it all were smarter radars and cleaner cockpits, forcing pilots to make split-second choices that meant life or death. Before we move forward, here's a question for you. What do you think was the hidden danger of relying entirely on radar for interception? Drop your guesses in the comments below, and we'll get back to it at the end of the video. The North American F-100 Super Sabre was the first U.S. fighter to fly supersonic in level flight. It entered service in 1954 and immediately showed the promise of this new generation. Its swept wings, afterburning engine, and top speed of over Mach 1.4 gave America an edge. The F-100 wasn't the flashiest jet in the sky, but it was the one that showed up every day. In Vietnam, it carried bombs and rockets on mission after mission, flying tens of thousands of combat sorties. Pilots knew it wasn't perfect, but they also knew it would get the job done. Yet the F-100 was also unpredictable. Handling at low speeds was tricky, and accidents were frequent. It symbolized the promise and peril of supersonic flight. Despite being capable of breaking barriers, it demanded respect from every pilot who flew it. The F-104 Starfighter never looked like an airplane. It looked like a rocket strapped with wings. Its body was razor thin, its wings so narrow and sharp that ground crews joked about cutting their hands on them. The moment the afterburner ignited, the Starfighter transformed into pure firepower. It climbed like a missile, smashed through Mach 2, and soared at 50,000 feet where it seemed untouchable. Pilots called it the missile with a man in it, and for a brief moment it felt like the future of air combat had arrived. But the same design that made it breathtaking also made it deadly. At low speeds, the wings gave almost no control. A stall or rough landing could turn the jet into a coffin. West Germany alone lost 270 plus. The press called it the Widowmaker, yet nations lined up to buy it, chasing pride and prestige on a machine both iconic and lethal. The Convair F-106 Delta Dart was the peak of America's interceptor philosophy. Delta-winged and capable of Mach 2, it entered service in 1959 with the single mission of defending the homeland from Soviet bombers. What set the F-106 apart was its link to the semi-automatic ground environment. This vast network of radars and computers could track enemy aircraft and feed instructions directly into the cockpit, turning the Delta Dart into a node in America's digital shield. For its time, a jet connected to a nationwide defense grid was groundbreaking. The weapons it carried were equally formidable. AIM-4 Falcons offered precision strikes. Air-2 Genie, tipped with a nuclear warhead, was designed to erase entire bomber formations in a single flash. But for all its power, the F-106 had a weakness: agility. Built to strike from miles away, it struggled in close combat and became a reminder that speed and technology could never fully replace versatility. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. And let us know in the comments which fighter you find the most fascinating and why. We love hearing your thoughts. The Soviet Union was not far behind. The MiG-19 Farmer became the USSR's first supersonic fighter in level flight. But the real game changer was the MiG-21 Fishbed. Compact and delta-winged, it was highly maneuverable and struck a balance the West often neglected. Unlike many Western designs, the MiG-21 kept both missiles and a cannon. This decision proved critical in conflicts where missiles failed to deliver consistent results. Exported across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, the MiG-21 became one of the most produced and widely used fighter jets in history. in wars like the Indo-Pakistani conflict and the Arab-Israeli clashes, MiG-21s clashed with Western aircraft. Their mix of speed and versatile weapons made them formidable opponents, and they became the visible symbol of the Cold War skies. France's answer to the supersonic race was the Dassault Mirage 3. With sleek delta wings and Mach 2 speed, the Mirage matched superpowers. Its biggest claim to fame came not in Europe but in the Middle East. During the Six-Day War of 1967, Israeli Mirages dominated the skies, cementing the jet's reputation worldwide. Other nations, from India to Australia, flew the Mirage 3 and trusted it as the backbone of their air forces. Unlike some American designs, it was relatively reliable and easy to maintain. It was also suited for both interception and ground attack missions. The Mirage showed that Europe could still shape the future of fighter aviation and became one of the most exported second-generation jets. If there was ever a fighter that lived up to its name, it was the English Electric Lightning. With twin engines stacked vertically, it could climb faster than any jet of its era, reaching 50,000 feet in under 3 minutes. Its slim, swept wings and powerful afterburners made it one of the most dramatic interceptors ever flown. Armed with cannons and early air-to-air missiles, it was designed to stop Soviet bombers before they reached British skies. But this raw power came with trade-offs. The Lightning had very limited range. Still, as a point defense interceptor, nothing climbed faster. It gave Britain a credible shield against high-flying Soviet bombers at the height of the Cold War. Though never exported widely, the Lightning remains legendary for its performance and silhouette. In neutral Sweden, engineers came up with one of the most unique designs with the Saab 35 Draken. Its double delta wing looked futuristic and allowed for both high-speed interception and stable low-speed handling, something many Western jets struggled with. The Draken could reach Mach 2 and was tailored to defend Sweden's vast airspace against potential Soviet incursions. Unlike the complex American interceptors, the Draken was built with practicality in mind and was able to operate from short, improvised runways or even highways. Though Swedish by birth, the Draken was exported to Austria, Finland, and Denmark. It proved that even smaller nations could field cutting-edge supersonic fighters. Second-generation fighters were bold experiments and machines built for a world on the edge of nuclear war. And without them, the path to the legendary fighters that followed would never have existed. So what was the hidden danger of relying on radar for interception? Early sets were powerful but struggled in bad weather, could be jammed by Soviet countermeasures, and pilots sometimes launched missiles at ghosts on the screen. Radar was the future, but in the 1950s it wasn't always trustworthy. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe because we'll be talking about third-generation fighters next.